everybody. This is going to be, as you've probably already heard, quite a quick run through. First of all, I'll just introduce myself, what the session's all about, and then we'll get into it, but it is going to be quite fast paced. I'd like to talk to you about our Lean journey, about what we've done, and how we've taken the change and real opportunity to drive Lean through the organisation. We've used Lean to join up GPS, so we've used it not just in terms of improvement, but joining up the whole of our organisation. But it's really a kind of practical and quite honest session for this afternoon, so you're not going to hear much about the theory and much about the practical kind of tools we've used. I'm just really going to go through where we've come from and what we've done, fairly warts and all. The first thing I'd like to do is just for a few seconds say who GPS are. GPS are a national procurement buying organisation. Our mission is to deliver savings for the nation. We spend about 10 billion a year across central government, the wider public sector and health. We're operating out of Liverpool and Norwich. We've got most of our staff in Liverpool. We still have about 80 staff who are operating out of Norwich. And we run on a category basis, so we buy things across 9 major categories, and they're split in terms of the common spend items you'd expect to see: fleet, travel, ICT, communications. They all run across the organisation. So that's really our mission. We are part of the Cabinet Office as well, so that's how we fit structurally, but we operate as an independent body. We have our own board, and we run our own operations out of Liverpool and Norwich as well. What we really deliver is we deliver contracts and frameworks for the public sector to use. We deliver transactional procurement as well. We're growing our transactional procurement, but we're also starting now to do more special projects and more spotlight. So that's really just a little bit of background about who we are. The next kind of 12 minutes that we have for this afternoon's presentation, I'd like to give you all an invitation to come and join us in Liverpool. I'm going to take you through what we have in Liverpool. It's exactly the same in Norwich, but for this afternoon, most of the material I'm going to be showing you is based at the Liverpool office. So where did we start, and when did we start? We started our Lean journey last August, so just over a year ago. The first thing we did, at the time the organisation was in a pretty bad state, to be frank. We had a difficult time. We lost 94 staff through redundancies at the Buying Solutions, which was the predecessor. And a lot of things that were happening in the organisation weren't working so well. The data was poor, the staff morale was probably at an all-time low. People were grieving for the previous organisation, and we had to cut costs really dramatically. Probably a similar story to many of the departments and functions in the room today, I'm sure. So we set out last August. The first thing we did was to set out our future direction. So we decided that if we were going to move forward from where we are, we needed to be clear about what the future looked like and how we could start to build that future. And we set out this simple kind of matrix here that you see around customer, one of the Lean principles I'm sure you all understand, operational delivery, people, transparency, and efficiency. Everything that we've done in the last year is based around those 5 themes. They're the same as you'll see on the staff objectives, as you will see in ministerial reports, as you will see in our annual report and accounts that run through. So it's the same thread that runs through the entire organisation. What we then did was to take that and then build that through last kind of autumn and reflect with our staff, spend time with our staff, get them engaged in building that future direction, which is kind of 3 to 5 years. We had big sessions with the staff. We put this up as a draft on the walls in the office, and they put stickies on it about where we should go. Quite nice stickies and some perhaps not so nice. We then honed it, we finished it, our future direction, and we kind of got all the staff to line up to it from the senior management point of view. We then built something in the middle there that you won't possibly be able to read. It's difficult to read in the office, let alone on the slide that we have here this afternoon. And it is our strategic deployment matrix. So it is one of the Lean tools that we've used. All that does is connects what we've set out to do into a 1-year plan to the targets and deliverables, which we then use throughout the organisation. It really is as simple as that. We then use that to drive down through to the performance management of the organisation on one side, and also through all staff objectives. So every objective in every staff's PDP should link up to their team plan, to the directorate plan, to the business plan that we have for GPS. So everything lines all the way up and down the organisation. I said and promised I'd give you a tour of Liverpool, certainly our office in Liverpool, and this is really the start of that. We moved office then, moving through autumn into about October time. We moved at the end of October. And this is really where we start to ramp up lean introduction and engaging staff. We held future direction sessions. We went through what we were doing, and we put the final product on the wall that all the staff had bought into. You can see it there on the 9th floor of our office in Liverpool. We moved offices from the Royal Life building to where we are now, and we wanted a much more vibrant, colourful, single status office. Everyone in the office sits in the same desks. Most of us don't actually have desks. We just come in and take a desk wherever we can. And so you better get in early if you want to get a seat for the day if it's busy. So that's how we operate the office in Liverpool. It's very much single status. It's very much meant to be a vibrant atmosphere. When we first moved office from the old organisation, all the staff disliked it quite intently. So we still had a motivational kind of view from the staff. It was a big change that we were going through. This is, I suppose, the centre of how we organise our performance in GPS, and really it's grown into kind of the heart of our lean operations. What we have here on the boards is the deployment matrix that we did with the staff at the start of the year. Each one of those boards that goes across then tracks every month where we are against each of the targets, red, amber, green. Each one of them then tracks each one of the deliverables to achieve those targets. So if we're doing the right thing, we should hit the right targets, so each one of those is tracked. The last board on there is a month board, so for now that will display all the performance data for this month, exactly how we're doing and exactly where we're on trend. Some of the reports we do are established on a daily basis, but most of the performance boards that run through the organisation are on a monthly basis. Why do we do it? We want everyone to know where we are. We want this to be used daily. We want this to have the buy-in of the staff. Most of the stuff that's on there you probably can't see is handwritten. We don't spend a lot of time generating PowerPoint slides and printing things off. We only do those every now and then. We want people to write on it. We want people to own this. If you come to the office, you'll see people working around the boards all the time, all day long. So that's really the plan that we have. And we want it to be honest. We want everything that is read, frankly, to be read. It is not a senior management tool to try and pretend that everything's working well. There are lots of reds on the board. Some of the reds are mine. I marked something in mine red yesterday, which didn't really give me great pleasure, but it's red and therefore we have to mark it red. So if things aren't going so well, it's right up there and it's everyone's sharing the view of where we are. This is a team performance board. So each team that we have has one of these boards. Again, as we started to introduce lean in October, I thought I'd come in one morning and find most of these in the car park or floating down the River Mersey. They were not liked as we started to introduce team performance board. It's fair to say, as we've introduced lean, there has been a fair element of push from the management team and from the staff and from the early adopters, and then there has been a really strong take-up by staff and now a real ownership from staff. I can stand here without fear of contradiction and say that if I tried to take a board off one of the teams now, they would be absolutely distraught. So they use them all the time, they update them all the time. This particular team went out and replaced their board because the old one wasn't big enough, and they really are part of the team. They have their team meetings and boards every Monday morning, every Friday afternoon. So driving that performance culture through the organisation is probably something that's been the most successful thing we've done. This then moves on to how we deliver some of the things the Minister was talking about earlier. Every procurement that we run has its own planning process. This is the area that we do it. Again, everything's visible, everything's honest and there. We use a kind of 3C, a kind of concern, cause, countermeasure plan for when things are going wrong. but we want to learn. So part of this is taking on board where things are not going to track, understanding why, building on that, training staff, and making sure that we can deliver better things in the future. So 120 days, I think we can go below 115 and even below 100 days in terms of most of the procurements we run. So that's a kind of bit of rhetoric about how we ran the office, what we did, how things have gone. I'm really proud about how things have gone, as I hope you can tell. But what has that really achieved? So we've gone, actually, we started off at 267 days for most of our procurements. We're now below 120. We've looked at all our data process control. It was around 55% every month that we ran our data returns. We're now well above 90%, and we're chasing down all the last ones there. And we also accelerated that. We used to run our data on the 15th of the month. We accelerated to the 7th of the month. And so we've done a huge change there. A lot of people thought it couldn't be done, but now that's exactly where we are, and it runs successfully month on month. Our next challenge, and where we've started to do some stuff, again, honestly, we haven't nailed it, is we've done business process improvement. So one of our e-auction processes used to be 104 days. We've done a lot of work around the process. It's now 42. So to summarise, my view on what we've learned as we've gone along the last year. In an office environment, visual performance management is the key. You don't have a physical factory there to see where things are going wrong or right, so having visual performance management is the key. Getting data integrity at the start for lean improvement is really important. Using the lean approach as part of business planning in the overall organisation, not just a team that sits in the corner, but embedded into the organisation. We don't have a separate lean team for GPS, it's everyone's job. A few simple lean tools and techniques trained out. We've trained 4 to the staff. Office change and other change can be a real help and a real catalyst for lean. So while things are not going so well, or there's a move, or there's a big structural change, we use that to really kind of build a new kind of positive future, and lean was part of that. That sounds a bit trite, but actually we've really seen that work in the last year, and I've seen the staff owning what we do. And the last bit, I suppose, the lean culture is very important. The lean culture is something that you can't, I mean, I've worked at Toyota Motor Manufacturing, I've worked at GlaxoSmithKline. Lean culture is not something that you can sell on PowerPoint slides. Lean culture is something that you need to live and breathe by example from senior management. Thank you very much.